Dad, who is the biggest loser in American history?
I told you, KP, don't be so hard on yourself. Come and enjoy some of the wildest chapters.
And most glanced over topics here on American Loser.
Eagle screamed.
The Eagles screamed. Here we are. We're live at our Shared Universe podcast studio in Homedale, New Jersey. With us, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There's no Kahuna here today, folks.
Yeah.
No Kahuna.
We're down one kahuna.
Kahuna is dead. All right.
That kahuna is
don't say
doomed.
that.
No, don't say that.
That's terrible.
Especially
Now you
on
start the whole
Halloween.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
People are going to
Now you
say
start a
Google.
whole new Halloween myth. Kahuna comes out of the woods
That's right. That's right.
and he plugs everything into you.
On a dark and stormy
There
night.
you go.
Indeed, he does. Very excited to have behind the ones and twos the one and only Ming Chen, the man who runs this place.
What's
How are
up?
you,
What's
sir?
up, everybody?
Good to
It's
see you.
honor to be here. Honor to be here.
Man, it's been a minute, dude. I'm so happy to have you here. With me, as always, is my Delph of a dad. My name's KP Burke. I am I'm a Jersey guy.
Jersey
all right?
guy.
I'm a Jersey guy. It is what it is. I got a couple of Jersey royalty here with us tonight. all right?
Absolutely.
The Wizards of Odd join us for the Halloween special, folks.
Great to be here.
The Halloween
Great to be
special,
here.
man.
Every
Great
day.
to have
Especially
you
on
guys
Halloween. Yeah, for us, every day is Halloween.
Honest to God, though, you are the most requested guests that
Really?
what people want you to be back on all the time.
That's
and
nice.
can't have you on all the time because sometimes I
Right.
talk about
Right.
real shit. You know
Then
what I
they'll be
mean?
like, that's
hey,
enough of them.
hey, could
That's
some of
enough
those
them.
people that are requesting us all the time
Yeah, come
actually
over to our
subscribe
show.
to our show?
Please do.
That would be great.
Wizards of Odd, ODD, and it's a great show. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
I've only listened to a couple episodes, but I really do like what I see.
Thank you.
And I love both of you, so you know that much.
Well, we
Right
love
back
you.
at you.
You know that.
Come on, man. You guys were on for one. Now, by the way, when we did Ong's hat, I almost felt wrong not having you here.
Yeah, with the whole conspiracy thing. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this time travel? Are we sure? We're not. I don't know if we're sure, but no. But you guys came on. We've been plugging this Halloween episode for a hot minute, and my father, he likes to have stuff. He has backup plans. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta have it back.
You have to.
Gotta have it.
He does.
A go-to,
And-
plan B.
Well, I can't wait for you guys to jump off and just do what you guys do. And your show is great. How long's it been going now?
It'll be 2 years, the middle of January.
2 years. Goddamn.
2 years.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. And we're going to get into a little personal history here, okay? At some point here, because Ted's been through some shit. All right, folks. Ted's been through some shit. It's what makes him so funny, too, by the way. But I will say this, Lawrence Patrick, you have some stuff about. We're going to start off, I think, with the Hodag. Is that fair?
The whole day.
The Hodag. Yeah, well, we
you
are
guys
on
know about the
Halloween. I
Hodag?
mean, what's more appropriate than
the Hodag.
starting out with some kind of a American folklore? This is American Loser, and we did have a bunch of losers out there in Wisconsin land. Actually, this is American
going on
folklore
out there.
from
you
Wisconsin.
can get
So
cheese
Yeah.
at a gas station named after this monster. That's how
it.
good it
There
is.
you
That's
go.
it. That's
Have
it.
some of that
pretty
there
awesome.
hodag.
Well, the Hodag was, this fearsome creature that was a meat eater.
And by the way, happy
carnivore.
Halloween, folks.
And it was resembled a lot. It had a big horns, and maybe we could bring up the image of the Hodag. There he is. Now that's a fiberglass replica
think
of
I
an
remember
artist's
that.
conception, if you will, of what the Hodag actually looked like. But
Don, I think that's their Mickey Mouse version of the Hodag.
yeah,
Come here, ride the hodag.
That's for
Ride the wild hodag.
the under 12 crowd, but
That's a pretty creepy rendition of something. I don't know what that is.
yeah. But the
So
Hodag had this ugly face, horns coming out of it, spines coming down its back like a dinosaur type of a thing, claws. Some felt that it's breathed had smoke coming out of it, and the red eyes and everything else.
I always have the two big red.
There's
This-
a black and white photo of the Hodag too. If you can find it, Ming, I appreciate it. There we
you
go.
go.
Wow.
yeah,
there you go.
that's a little uglier
Now
than
that's
that.
a Hodag.
That's a
That's
Hodag.
a French
That's-
bulldog that got in a
That's
fight
a
with a
nasty
fucking
looking pit bull.
unicorn.
Isn't it?
That's the real.
See,
That's
Michael
the
Vick
real
strangled that
Hodag.
thing.
And they say that the Hodag actually rose up from the ashes of a cremated oxen. Now, why you would want to
man.
burn your ox? I guess it's easier to burn it than it is to
I thought it was just a
to
metaphor.
bury it.
I thought it was a metaphor. I'm sorry, I was out last night. I really burned my ox. What'd you do it with? Well, I ran into the Hodag.
Yeah, Hodag.
I had to burn
What are you
my
gonna do?
ox.
Yeah.
So wait, so they
No,
say
that's
it
how this
rose
stuff
from
starts,
the
though.
ashes
Yeah.
of a burnt oxen.
It had to be
Yeah, they
something
said that they
going on there.
had an oxen and they cremated the thing.
There you
and
go.
then,
Really?
all the cruelty that was put upon the oxen because it was a beast of burden, and
Right.
they whipped the
Wow.
thing and make it carry heavy loads and everything else. That all the evil that was thrust upon this oxen now rose from the ashes, and that's where the Hodag actually came from. And it was
There's
first.
follow-ups about the Hodag.
Yeah,
too.
and it was, strongly tied into the city of Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
Really?
I
That,
think there's Germans out there.
yeah,
really.
there was
I
quite a
think
few out there.
That's before Wisconsin annexed the Sudetenland.
That's right. Yeah, but Hitler promised, that's all we're going to take. It's
You
just
have
a,
the Hodag
the
ready?
Hodag. It's all right.
The
And
worst.
the Hodag is big within the whole Paul Bunyan folklore
Yeah, see,
kind
we
of stuff
got all
too,
the
right?
giant stuff right
So,
there.
yeah.
Babe the blue ox. Once again, the ox.
There you go.
This
There
ox
you
are
go.
very important up there.
And you're out in the the Northwest, and guys are doing a lot of forestry. So there's
yeah.
a really deep forest, the lumbering
yeah.
industry. And it was some guy that who was big in that whole thing that first reported the Hodag, or the Hodag sightings, and he gathered up a whole bunch of his buddies
Yeah.
to go out there and go on a Hodag hunt.
Well, so that's the thing. These people generally with these stories would go looking for this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like those old 50s sci-fi movies. This is
Yeah.
how people have changed. You watch them, it's like, look, giant insects are coming to kill the whole town. All right, Johnny, get my rake and my shotgun. We're going out.
That's it.
It's not like
That's
let's
right.
hide. You know what I mean? It's like, get my baseball bat and
If
your
that's
mother's
not
dress. We're
mystery
going out.
science theater content, what is?
Right.
There you go.
Right.
But I mean, these things start somewhere. He's right. You know, who knows what that misery was?
I mean, we got people coming in on the chat right now.
Yes, we do. Stu Greenberg, we got Paul Logan,
You know it. Paul Logan's
Ian
a good
Dwyer, Dino Vasels. A lot of big
man.
crowd here,
We got
big
the right
crowd
people
here.
coming
There
in.
we go.
The right
Nice,
people
nice.
coming
A
in.
lot of founding losers in there.
There really are.
Mr. Andy High Roller.
Oh, there we go.
He's back, my friend.
He's my favorite.
Calling from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
He really is. He needs money too. So we're going to figure this out. Whatever we make tonight, we're going to send over
There
to
you
you,
go.
buddy.
We don't want any trouble.
Well, there was a local back to Rhinelander, Wisconsin. There was a local, character, if you will, that he was a land speculator. He was also a forest surveyor. Like he would go onto somebody's property and survey the trees and tell you what's the value of this particular thing, whether it's crap, pulp wood, or whether it's got something worth harvesting. And so he's drumming up some business with this whole Hodag kind of a thing. And of course, it was reported in the newspapers, so it had to be true because it was in the newspapers,
There
right?
you go.
And
That's right.
we're talking 1893 here. So the only mass media that you really have is the newspapers.
That's
so
it.
If
Oh,
you
man.
read it on the internet or you read it in the newspaper, it was the
We
same,
talked about this
Kahuna
earlier.
is
same
not
kind of a
free
thing,
yet.
right?
How a lot of people trust those accounts more, the old
Absolutely.
accounts, because they haven't been built up over the years to a media that really makes it bigger than it is. They'll just go, 3 people were missing, the ox was dead, call it the Hodag. We don't know what it was.
Right,
We're
right,
not looking for it, folks, but we'll let you know if we hear more.
right.
These trees.
Well, the article
really-
claimed that the Hodag had the head of a frog,
Oof.
the grinning face of a giant elephant, short, thick front legs and huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with a spear on the end. So that photograph right there is
Perfect.
a
Nailed
little more than the
looks so
fiberglass
real.
model in front of the thing. But this guy Eugene Shepard was this land surveyor and timber cruiser, the guy that would survey your property and tell you
Yeah.
what it's worth. And he rounds up a bunch of his buddies, and they go out hunting for the hodag, and they capture the animal. And
they capture it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now we're talking.
Well, they captured it.
Authentic too, fellas.
It was reported that they killed the beast, but it took dynamite to kill the beast. So
Really?
that's how badass the hodag was.
Yeah. Now
They didn't happen to get any pictures of it, did they?
Well, the photograph of the remains of the charred beast,
it's just hard to
I
tell.
guess the blown up crater. That's
Then he
where the
then he
hodag
was.
was.
The blow dag.
Yeah.
He done blowed
It's
up
weird.
dag.
It looks like a pig. It's so weird.
Really?
Yeah, man, so many of these things are like these like combination creatures. You know what I mean? You're like,
Oh yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
It's a
Totally.
morph of it's a whole different thing.
yeah,
that come
yeah.
together to.
It's like, I've been watching too much of this stuff. But I saw a thing on today where they go, "Well, here these people went looking for the Pope Lick monster." And my wife's sitting there, I go, "Oh, it's the Goat Man." I think she goes, "Really? You know the Goat Man's
I know,
involved in
it's
this?" I'm like, "This is what we do."
But now that wasn't the end
No, I'm
of
sure.
the
it wasn't.
hodag sightings. though.
Did he regenerate?
Because you would think that, like any good horror movie,
Oh, yeah.
you got the, the return or
Mike
the son
Myers
of,
always
or,
came back,
That's
right?
Or the
Or
question
Hollywood.
mark at the end.
or Halloween 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4. What are we up to?
8,
8, 9, whatever
Yeah.
it is. All right. So, a couple of years later, the same guy, this shepherd, claims that he has captured a live hodag this time around.
Wow.
And he said that they were able to capture this thing because he and a couple of buddies found its cave, its den, and on a long pole with rags soaked in chloroform,
Oh, really?
they were able to put it near the thing and
Oh,
knock
and
it out.
knock it out.
And,
Just
and
to be
capture
clear,
it.
just to be clear. Also, date rape. Just
Well, the authorities have done that to me too. Get me out of my house.
They were either going to use
just
chloroform
put the
or
lo-
roofies.
They just
Yeah.
put the long pole in there and take me out. You
a
know.
long pole, and it was.
Or maybe like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Russians did some years, 20 years. But Chechens, they did weaponized fentanyl. They pumped
really?
They pumped in gas with weaponized fentanyl into this
No
theater
shit.
to knock everybody out.
see, here's the weirdest part. I got fentanyl in my cocaine the other day.
That sucks, you
Oh,
know.
it just ruined
ruined
everything.
You know,
Ruins the buzz.
people do a job. They just don't care about purity anymore.
So now he's got a live hodag.
He's got a live hodag.
hodag and a suitcase
what are you
of
gonna do
drugs,
with a live
apparently.
hodag?
Yeah, what, exactly.
Everybody and his brother wants to see the hodag.
Okay.
So he
Yeah, I would
creates an
say so.
attraction for it. And he
We breed this with a Boston
Terrier.
Terrier. You have any idea how many rats we can get killed around this town?
Well, the Boston Terrier. Actually, they said that white bulldogs was its favorite food source.
There you go.
Oh,
So that's why there was a downturn in hodag sightings because
they ran out of dogs.
it ran out of dogs. That,
Jeez.
it
It's just
really
nuts.
put white bulldogs into extinction, right?
That's too funny.
But now he's got this thing displayed at the Oneida County Fair.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah, he's got it on display, and reports were that he was able to hook wires up to it somehow or other, that he could actually make this thing move.
Oh, yeah.
Which would just freak people out, but people were coming in by the thousands.
Yeah, I'll bet.
to pay to see this
It's
thing.
like
And
Muppets gone really wrong.
I mean,
I'll take.
yeah, Kahuna
Jim-
would have been.
Jim Henson-
Kahuna should have been.
I really
Jim
did. I
Henson's
told you they were my
Hodag
favorites.
babies.
I'll take the cheese platter and a ticket to see the hodag.
Yeah, there you go.
Can I ride the Hodag?
We got the Wisconsin, the deep fried cheese at
I'll
the
tell you.
county
Yeah,
fair. I
yeah.
mean, that's
I had a friend who worked in Wisconsin for 3 years and gained 60 pounds.
Really?
He said because he would go for breakfast. He says, and I had all the intentions of getting like
forget it.
oatmeal and toast.
Oh, yeah.
And the next thing you know, there's a garbage lid in front of me, and it's just filled with eggs and cheese and everything else you can possibly put there.
Yeah, it's all cheese.
All right, listen, I'm sorry to go back to where we were, but do we have pictures of the hodag?
well, he's
being
got this
We got
thing
a
at the
couple of them
Oneida
over
County
here.
Fair. He's making this big splash. I mean, and now
I'm
the media
intrigued.
is taking this from local papers
Absolutely.
to statewide papers to now national. And
So we had a couple of them. There's that weird black and white Hodag
Right,
picture
the one we saw.
right there. I think we pulled that
Yes,
one.
There
that
it is.
one.
Right. There's also another one of I'm not sure if it came through or not, Ming, but there was a picture of a bunch of the guys who claimed to have caught it.
They have pieces,
And
chunks
it-
taken
it's-
out of
it's-
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Their
They
arm
were
missing.
warriors. Those guys.
You know, that's the thing with our show too. Like, it's the fact that this,
Oh, there's the Hodag.
Hodag.
That was a Hodag sighting.
it's the fact that this story exists. That it,
Yes.
it came from somewhere. Like, what's it all about? You know.
Yeah, well, this made a big splash, and as I say, local papers were picking up on it.
That was
Teddy
intriguing.
knows. Teddy knows.
That was intriguing.
It's Kevin the Hodag.
I'm trying to keep it together here, folks.
Oh.
I'll say this though. Now, are there actual pictures of a hodag? That might ask the question: is there actually a hodag?
Right.
Yeah, well, the newspapers were, as I say, were picking this up, local, state, and then finally nationally. I mean,
Yeah.
the people were
Yeah, it's created such a buzz.
Like the Jersey
a
Devil
huge
thing.
buzz.
Right.
And when this thing started to move, people were absolutely freaking out that wasn't just some.
No, wait,
dummy.
was it,
now with the
was
timeline?
it dead and he was making it move, or he had it in?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't really know, but we're talking 1896, so
Something
electricity
doesn't
is just
exist.
coming in.
Yeah.
So
Is
if
it
he was
really
able-
alive?
if this
Well,
was
they were zapping people just before that.
an automatron or whatever,
scaring
that
the hell
yeah.
out of people
Yeah.
doing it.
If
They
he's
took
make-
dead bodies into these anatomical
Yeah.
theaters, like especially in Scotland, they put these guys who were executed up, and they put prods into their electrical ends, and they hit it, and their guy's hand would raise up. One point, he looked around at the audience and grimaced and smiled. People shit themselves. They passed out and ran out of there.
Absolutely.
I'm like, why would you do
guys
that?
know we did the,
It was all
uh,
about from Galvani with the
Yeah, he was-
frogs.
Some
Oh, he was
hawker
the
out
worst.
front that.
We actually did the electric chair episode, and it was the most terrifying thing ever because after we did a very unsettling episode,
Yeah.
we walked into what was the name of the
Westinghouse.
A Westinghouse elevator.
There you go.
Yeah.
Westinghouse was at odds with Edison.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were,
And the
yeah.
whole electric chair
That's
kind of
why
a thing
Edison,
was a big, the war of the currents or
yeah.
something, whether they were going to go with
He was fighting with Tesla.
alternating current,
Yeah.
current or direct current. And now at the end of this episode, we're going out of the studio and
Into a
the
Westinghouse
elevator.
elevator.
And it was a Westinghouse elevator.
we'll be
after
okay,
Vietnam.
right?
Edison wanted to
It'll be
show.
okay.
Edison wanted to show that Tesla's thing with the alternating current was more dangerous, so he actually electrocuted a elephant,
Right.
and you have that on film. It's like, okay, that's very nice.
Yeah, right.
Okay, good
Well-
work there, Edison.
All in the name of science, right?
Yeah.
They
We're
used
gonna
to
off
feed
an
him
elephant.
cigarettes though, so he was
he
bad.
was fine with that. He actually got up right after and went.
But you know the thing about the Hodag is, and almost any other sighting of these creatures, is that, listen, most of them are probably fake.
Right.
Okay, but there are a lot of people who have seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
That it doesn't get them any monetary gain, it doesn't get them any fame,
Yeah.
and yet they'll go to their death believing that's
saw
what
it.
they saw.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well,
So it's
And that
modern
whole
day
area-
version is
that whole area
I
is
saw
very
the
strange.
UFO, I saw the space creature kind of a thing because
And now it's
I
real.
watched
And
the
now it's
Discovery
real.
Channel. All right,
And,
I discovered
Ming pulled the photo.
There
Oh,
it
there
is.
it is.
go.
There's the boys.
Let's poke it.
Oh, come on, Ming.
let's poke it.
No, just, you know, let's poke it.
Golden. No, this is probably it's probably a couple of guys on a good hunting trip
Oh, yeah.
coming up with some sort of a
Yeah, I think
gambit
that's
or
a
whatever.
couple of beers
That's
too
your,
many.
there's a guy laying there.
I gotta tell you, it looks like a pinata.
That's right.
Right? It does. It kind of looks
It
like,
might have been.
okay, swing the club.
Yeah, now you could look at that and say, all right, that's a dummy, or somebody made that up
Who
as a
knows?
model. But if you got that thing to move
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
under the right
Oh, it
lighting
freaked me out.
conditions and everything
Absolutely.
else, yeah, I'd pay a ticket to go see that. Well, anyhow, this thing got national acclaim, and people were coming from all over to go see the Hodag, the live Hodag, to the point where there was now a small group of scientists from the Smithsonian. In Washington,
There you go.
they said, we're going to go out and check this thing out.
And-
And then once those
Top
guys.
men.
That's right.
Top
scientists.
men.
Who are you going to call? I mean, you're going to call, right?
Top.
What was his? Bankman from the Ghostbusters?
Venkman.
Oh, yeah.
Bankman would have been great, but Top
Back-
Men was an Indiana Jones line.
Oh, all right.
Top man. Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Right. I wear a white coat. I know what I'm doing. Well, anyhow, when the Smithsonian guys were saying that they were going to come out to Wisconsin to check it out, then it was revealed. Yeah, all right, it's a hoax.
There you
it's
go.
a hoax.
Aw.
But
We'll save you the
that doesn't mean
train
that there
fare.
still weren't. To your point, there
Yeah.
still wasn't all kinds of sightings after that.
Yeah.
Even today, you got not far from you got Wisconsin and Michigan are full of like devil worship and all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
you got the Beast of Bray Road, these werewolf things
No,
running
that
around
one's
in
terrifying.
Michigan.
The Dogman, yeah.
yeah.
And honestly, over the last year, Dogman sightings have probably outpaced even like Sasquatch sightings.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple of documentaries and where there was a guy who said it was his mother-in-law's property, and he said, I turned around and I saw what looked like a Dogman. He was 8 to 9 foot tall, very big, broad chest, body of a dog, and standing on his hind legs. And he says, I ran, and he ran after me. He says, and I made it to the car, and he said that, it attacked the car. And
They always attack the car.
they always do.
Right.
But then
Everything
what he
attacks the
did
car.
was he went on a podcast that they
Foreign
talk about
imports.
this stuff. Yeah, I
Really?
hate this.
The Beast of Bray Road's American, baby.
Electrify this.
But he went on this podcast, and they decided to investigate it. And the guy, they met the guy, and the guy said, I'll take you to the beginning of where the woods start.
Yeah.
I will not ever go in there again. And he saw something.
Cue the scary music.
Right, he saw something.
Yeah.
That's a good one on that.
Yeah, I mean, what gets me is they're always like well developed. They got muscles, like they got a gym somewhere.
Well, that's what the dogmen do. The dogmen,
Yeah, you
they
know what I
work
mean?
out,
It's like-
they're proud of their look.
What else you
I
gonna
don't
do all day?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd pick up a stick.
Oh,
and
they're
go,
from
Fetch,
Jersey.
and then run
All
for
right.
it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. If a dogman ever comes at you, just throw a ball
There you go.
and run the other way.
Remember the one who was talking to somebody? He was digging in those mounds, those Indian mounds. And
Yeah, he
a
was
guy
digging in the
came
Indian
across
mounds.
it, and he saw it again. He's like looking at it and thinking was like trying to talk to him. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here. or something.
Yeah, it was like.
He said, I think it said Gehenna.
Yeah.
Gehenna is like a Jewish hell.
The guy goes, I gotta go.
The guy's like, okay, boy, you be good.
That's right.
Good boy.
Maybe I have a milk bone.
Hey, you know, can you get Lonchini's on
Scooby
our ass?
snack or something, right?
Yes.
I mean, that would be pretty scary.
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you what.
they think something's running around out there, but they don't know what it is.
Well, we know that because you guys, again, some of the popular guests we ever had on the show, you guys know the ins and outs on when something's kind of bullshit and when it isn't. So I want to ask you, LP, you kind of already revealed the Hodag's bullshit. But everybody kind of knew that or what? Because these guys got some real shit I can't wait to get into.
Yeah. No, go for it.
Oh, no.
The last thing I would end with on the Hodag, though, is
Yeah,
that there is a Jersey connection.
yeah, he makes a point there.
Oh,
he makes a good point.
Let me
about
hear this.
Oh, it's pork
The
roll.
Jersey connection for the
Pork
Wisconsin
roll.
Hodag
He goes,
was when your sister was in the 3rd grade. I had to make a Hodag.
No, did you
This is
really?
how I know about
For
this.
her
Well, that
third
this
grade
explains
class,
your
right?
attachment to the
you
Hodag.
didn't know about this?
No, I
Oh,
did know
you
about
did.
this. So when he worked with me, it was actually my mother and I worked on this one, and we used a garden hose and a soda bottle, and we made a 9-headed hydra
Oh, there you go.
from
The
Greek
deadly
mythology.
hydra.
Nice.
And the whole reason I did the project was to be able to buy Hercules action figures. That was my whole underlying cause for this. And then Kerry, because she's a fascinating human being, did the Hodag, which I think was a Clorox bottle of bleach.
Oh, we had the big,
That's pretty cool.
2-gallon Clorox
Clorox.
bottle.
See, but I love
We
that,
took the
though. You were
handle and
doing
turned
that,
it
though. I
into
love
the
the fact you were
horn, and,
doing that. That's so cool.
My wife had some faux fur that we glued on there to give
There
it
you
the
go.
fur, and then we put spines down its back. I mean, it was a scary looking thing. Had I think 8 penny nails for its claws. and, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
See, I thought I saw you in that picture. standing
that's right. I was one of the guys on the.
That's one of the
with a
guys.
glue
right.
gun. You
That's
standing
right.
with a glue gun. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, my dad helped build the creature that killed Old Yeller.
They always go for the dogs too. Dogs
Yeah,
always
they
get
always
killed
do.
in
My
those
white
things.
bulldog. What happened?
It is what it is, man. So now I want to ask you guys this because I'm going to jump in and later on here because I got a pretty good one that was sent to us by another popular guest on this show named Eric Albert, who's an insane person. We just couldn't get him down here. But all right, if you could explain what cryptids are.
Cryptids are animals that are purported to be in existence, but they haven't been confirmed, like a Sasquatch. Like there's a lot of sightings, a lot of footprints and everything, but they're not really recognized by science as something that really exists.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, Sasquatch
Things
is
like
probably
that.
the most common. Dogman, you know, there's places where they have dinosaurs where they supposedly spot.
The Mothman is a
Understood.
The
cryptid.
Mothman, because
Mothman.
it's something that's a
Cryptid,
creature.
yeah.
You
Is
really
it
don't
always
know what it is.
half man, half creature, or is it
Um,
a combination
No,
of
usually
creatures?
it's
Like
just
you were
no,
talking
because like
about
the
before?
chupacabra is
Yeah.
really just a seemingly some sort of a dog or canine kind of thing with no human.
Well, there's two different versions of that. There's the one that the chupacabra was originally like in Puerto Rico. He was like a space creature.
That's true, too,
That was
yeah.
like 3 feet tall with spikes going down his back.
Okay.
And they would find animals with 3 wounds in them.
Puerto
where the
Ricans,
blood
by the
was
way, you
sucked
can't
out.
trust. Like 9 out of 10 times, you find out they're married afterwards.
Okay, well, if
Well,
it was
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, so then it
That's a
evolved. Then
different
it evolved
podcast.
into this
Oh,
whole
we're
wolf
trying.
type thing, you know. But that's the thing. Even
Yeah,
if it's
that's a cryptid.
That's what we think. If even somebody's making it up, there's a reason for that story to begin. So if you could find where that tale came from, you might find out something interesting. Why somebody would make that up and why it would take on a life of its own. It tells you something about people too, how legends and things travel and evolve.
Oh,
You know?
totally.
Right, and as the years go by, it
Yeah.
gets bigger and
Like-
scarier.
And like I say
and
now,
bigger
they're-
and
deadlier.
bigger.
now they come out. At least people ridiculed for years about UFOs. Now they're saying, "Oh yeah, they were there all along."
Hey, we're really sorry. They really
But
did exist.
what I'm waiting for is next week when they come out and go, "Yeah, you know that werewolf thing and the vampires? They're true too. We
They're
didn't want to
true,
tell
yeah.
you."
Right.
It's like, come
Do you guys
on.
know this? KP Burke's comedy career? It's actually real.
No, we know that's real.
Oh, I'm trying, Teddy. I'm trying so hard. I actually, real quick, I'm going to interject for a second. I have a good one here. Have you guys heard of this one? It's the Red Ghost. It's the camel zombies out in Arizona.
I have never heard
that
of
one.
that.
That one I know.
Oh, you have not heard of that?
I have,
I'll
I
tell you
have
not
missed
heard of
that
that.
one.
So I'm excited.
good one.
Eric Albert is money. He's really money on this show. You guys are money on this show, so is he. Ming, what are the people saying in the chat right now? Can we see that or no? Uh-oh.
Cut the bullshit.
Boom.
Shut up. We got a couple of people. We got my cousin.
Oh, I like
Megan.
that. The Hodag is the Jersey Devil's cousin.
There you go.
Oh,
You
now
got
we're
big.
talking.
That's the Jersey
big.
connection.
Now
There
we're
you go.
talking.
Hell, he's got horns too, right? The Jersey
Bill
Devil.
He
McCown,
does have
we love
horns,
you
yes.
too, pal. We love you too. Paul Logan already knows we love him. He's a good man right there. And obviously Stu is Stu's been down since day one.
Megan scared me. She said, "Bo."
It's a
Or maybe it's a pet of the Jersey Devil. That could be too.
knows?
Ian Dwyer's a good man right there. All right, I'm happy to see all these people, man. This means a lot to us.
Wait a
to,
minute. What was that one? I have a picture of a
Shut up,
Hodag
KP.
I hooked up with in Buffalo.
That's pretty funny. Pretty funny. Well, those snowstorms, you never know.
was that Ian?
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
That was
Ian
great.
is funny. He really is a funny dude.
That's awesome.
So we're going to do a full episode on this next topic at some point. However, we could not get Eric down here for this one, but all I'm going to do is read the opening paragraph, and you boys tell me, because this is what they do here, folks. All right, they do cryptids. They are the Wizards of Odd. It's just
Odd.
what they do.
We're really on.
And just as there's a lot of American losers,
And it
there's
just-
a
and it
lot of
just never-
oddities out
just
there.
never ends.
We will never run out of
No.
odd.
No, you won't.
Never.
Because there's always something new that comes
Yeah.
along.
Well, boys, in Arizona folklore, the Red Ghost is a figure alleged to have roamed the Arizonan frontier in the late 19th century. It was said to have been a large red camel with a bleached human skeleton on its back.
Oh, there you go.
Legends of it were widespread across Arizona up until its supposed death before the dawn of the 20th century. In 1893, a farmer shot a camel and found there was an actual human skeleton strapped to its back.
Wow.
Yeah.
right.
So
Well, you know what, too? They were trying to introduce camels to some of these arid areas, like
Yes.
Australia
Oh,
and the
totally.
Southwest
Yeah.
here, because they thought it never quite worked out. So maybe somebody went off in the desert and died and was attached
Yeah.
to this thing.
And-
this poor bastard had to haul him around.
And just before he died, he said to the camel, "I need water."
Really.
The camel said, "I don't."
Well, walk a mile for it, you idiot.
it's hump day.
I never heard
but
of that.
What
No, I
you
never
just
heard
said
that.
though is that's I think
That could be the
all
beginning of
great
that.
ghost stories really start with a nugget of truth to
Well, yeah,
it,
there's always
Yeah.
something
and then they
scary
expand
happens.
upon it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're going to feed into that soon with the most legendary writer in New York history. You already know where we're going, Teddy.
Lunch dinner.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I didn't want to give
You
it
gotta
away.
say it. We knew it.
Yeah,
I thought it was Truman Capote. I was scared.
But you were saying a nugget of truth
Yeah,
will
the actual-
give you the gold that you need to get.
Right, because if this guy shot this camel in 1893,
Yeah.
it's not too far afield that back in 1855. All right.
Okay.
When America is now land grabbing all this
Yeah,
property
expanding.
from Mexico,
Yeah.
and they now have Arizona and Texas and pretty much the whole Southwest, along with California and stuff. They've got this what became known as the Great American Desert across the Southwest, and they're having a hard time bringing supplies and actually figuring out what the hell do we have here. So, kind of a throwback or to another podcast. Secretary of War at the time is our own Jefferson.
Teddy Rose. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Jefferson
always
Davis.
assume. We
Jefferson
always
Davis.
assume.
No, we got to bring Teddy in here somehow or other. But no, Jefferson Davis, that before he became president of the Confederacy,
Confederacy.
he was Secretary of War, and he came up with or finally pushed through Congress this whole idea of creating a Camel Corps.
There you go.
That the Army was going to go to the Middle East and buy up a whole bunch of camels,
Yeah.
because if it works in Algiers
There
and
you go.
all, North
That's right.
Africa and all these other places, Egypt and everything else, that other countries were working out real well with camels across the desert. Let's bring some of these camels to the United States and see if it works out. So it was an experiment, and it was actually an Army Camel Corps.
Yeah.
And leading up to it, it had moderate success to begin with. They found out that the camels were scaring the shit out of the Army mules and horses. That,
Yeah,
really?
If
They're
you've
not
never saw a
pleasant.
camel
They're not
before,
used to
They're
seeing
not
it. Yeah,
pleasant
that's a-
animals
that's
either.
Get a load of
scary.
these dicks on these Africans over here.
Yeah, they're like chewing stuff and spitting shit on
Be
all
careful,
the
they
other
spit. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. But anyhow, it didn't really work out. But and they ended up selling a lot of these camels. I think they bought over a total of 70 of these. These.
I will
things
buy your
before they-
camel.
That's right. Well, they actually brought in a guy that was a camel herder. Yeah, and his name was Haji Ali. At least that was his American.
See, I was close to that.
Haji Ali. They called him Haji Ali. He was an
Where's he
Ottoman
from?
Turk.
Then he got on that thing and it was goodbye, Joe.
I'm sorry,
He
Mom.
came back as a skeleton.
That's right. Well, wow.
Is this the right way?
I told you they were money.
Yeah. Well, what's the puppet guy too that has the Ahmed, the dead terrorist?
I'll kill
Oh,
you.
Jeff Dunham.
Yeah.
I kill you.
I kill you. Well, anyhow, they hire out these camel jockeys, these camel herders. They bring up a whole
That might
bunch
be
of
worse.
a whole bunch of camels to the United States. They finally arrive by ship to Texas. They bring them up to Arizona, and they're going through this whole thing. The experiment bombs out, and it was also the Civil War is just about ready to
Yeah.
break out. So
Yeah, it's
things
like
were a
Jefferson
little-
Davis, as Secretary of War, would have seen the problems
Right,
with what he was going to do.
right. So
What was
it
I thinking?
They ended up selling these camels, and a lot of people bought them just out of curiosities, and then just set them free and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the possibility of having these wild camels roaming around the
absolutely.
Southwest
Yeah, you
is
see that happen.
there's your
Especially if
little
they somehow
nugget that.
bred or somebody bred them. or
And-
something.
Ming, can you bring up? There's like a haunted photo of one of the ghost camels.
Oh,
there it
yeah.
is.
There you go.
With the,
So now this,
the
He looks a little parched.
This is where this rumor just turns into a legend.
right.
if
So
you
the,
will.
the camel's color was
Thank you.
red, and there was a skeleton on its
Yeah.
back. And when this guy finally shot the red camel, there really was a skeleton on its back.
That's
There was
pretty scary.
reports before all of this happened that there was a bunch of guys took pot shots at this skeleton rider on the camel and hit him in the head and knocked its head off.
Oh,
so now
great.
you got a headless camel,
horseman.
headless camel rider. But
Hang on to that for later.
they said when they checked out the remains of this camel, there was scarring on its where the leather straps that were holding this
Oh, if you've been
skeleton
walking
on
that
it
long time,
in there. That this thing was bound up. That somebody had tied himself, or somebody
Yeah,
had
maybe he
somebody
was
tied
to the camel.
Tied
Maybe he
to
felt
the
like he was
camel.
going to die and strapped himself to
Brutal.
the
So
camel.
again, now
Brutal.
folklore was, or legend has it that there was a prospector who was dying of thirst and came upon this camel and tied himself to this camel, figuring that the camel was going to be able to find water, and never made it. And for the rest of his days, now he's
I
riding
don't
this
need
camel.
water. Did you?
I don't use water.
Camels going. I got like a week to go.
But wait a minute. Here's a question: who shoots a camel?
Yeah, well.
well,
Put it into the time frame, though.
You're right.
If you're back in the 1800s and you never saw a camel, you've never been to the Bronx Zoo or never had
well,
an
the whole
opportunity.
skeleton thing too.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess if you see the
Yeah.
skeleton on it.
Maybe
you're
they
right.
get
Yeah,
a dirty
so-
look. I don't know.
If you got a camel with a skeleton on its back in your front yard, I think maybe I'm going to take a shot at it.
Yeah. Hello, 911.
I'm actually making. Yeah, I'm making sure the door's locked, and I'm
Hello.
going in the bathtub.
Hello, 911. Yeah, there's a camel on my lawn with a skeleton on it.
After a comedy gig, I got home late one night and I pulled into my driveway and I went to get out of the car and there were 3 deer on my lawn and they were stopped, frozen, looking at me and I'm looking at them and I very quietly closed the door and sat in the car for 45 minutes until they moved.
Is that funny?
What are you
Isn't that
kidding
funny?
me? And everybody goes, "Well, deer won't attack you."
You don't know
I
that.
said, "They go, they won't bother you." I said, "Listen, I have friends who are vegetarians who occasionally will eat a hamburger. I'm not taking the chance that this guy decides to say, you know what? I'm tired of eating these berries. Let me try that guy."
Yeah. I got
No.
those giant turkeys circling my house every
That's
day.
from Jersey City.
Yeah.
I got
too.
these giant turkeys circling my house every day. I saw them when they were chicklets. Now they're grown up. And I don't know what people think of
He's
me.
like
'cause-
the turkey whisperer.
well, because I say to people, I'm like, oh, Dan, I got to go to my car. I don't care. I'm just going to walk. My brother was like, yeah, don't tangle with them because they got those claws. What do you really think I'm going to fight the turkeys? Like my neighbor was like, I was kidding with this older woman. I go, look, I'll grab the turkey. You get the camera. Just get some good video. She goes, oh, I don't know. They think they're pretty mean. I'm like, I'm not really going to wrestle the turkey. I'm kidding. But they're huge. You remember, this is where the dinosaurs went. They became birds.
So this thing, it's strapped. The skeleton thing is strapped to it.
Oh, yeah.
Now the camel's dead.
Right.
Is that the end of it?
Well,
When the guy shot him, it was.
yeah, that was pretty much the end of the legend. But
There's a
there
tie
have
into
been
a skeleton structure that comes into a later part of the story.
Okay.
here. Not from this particular story, but from something different that you and I have talked about beforehand.
Like the Nuck
I
Levine.
don't want to cut him off, though, because
No,
he's on a
he's
roll
on a
right
roll.
now.
He's rolling right now. Keep it going, baby.
You got me with that
What
Bring
are the
it.
folks saying on the chat? We got anything good we got to check in on? Uh-oh. I know Stu's doing good work. Hey, Mary, how are you? Mary's a good one,
United
man.
States Army cavalries could not train Arabian camels. They didn't know how. They had to.
I love
bring-
Ben and Jerry's Camel Cone,
Yeah,
Nick
that's
Franco.
right. That's absolutely true. It's absolutely true.
Oh, no, they're terrifying, man.
I wonder if that's how they came up with the
Yeah,
camel.
because they're not
cone
horses, you know.
What?
thing. I don't know.
Oh, I swore it was about Jenny McCarthy, but that's just me.
no, there have been other camel sightings.
Wait, Nick Franco. Wait, Red Skeleton was on his back.
Skeleton. Oh wow!
And God bless.
That's right.
Nick,
Good
Nick's
night,
Two
a funny
seagulls,
God
dude.
bless.
Gertrude and Heathcliff.
Nick's a funny dude. No denying.
Well, see, that's how stories would start. I mean, if you saw that, you're in the desert,
yeah,
you saw it in
of
the
course.
distance, you get your binoculars and went, I'm going to go this way.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
How uncomfortable was it for the camel, though? So this guy dies on its back.
I don't think he had any
and then
choice.
it starts decomposing. And the camel's like, "What is that?"
He
It
probably
was all
ate
like
Well, it
dripping.
lightened his load, though.
It did. That's
Just keep
true.
spitting the whole time, like, oh,
That's
what did I
right.
eat?
And they say I'm disgusting.
Well, that's like the legend of the Nuck Levine in Scotland. Comes out of the water. It's a giant horse. It has no skin.
Keep going here.
So you can see its blood coursing. It's black
Yeah.
blood. Comes out. It attacks people, and it has big red eyes. It's about 2 tons. Supposedly, it's huge, and it's got a thing growing out of its back that looks like a rider. So it looks like something growing up with 2 arms and a head lolling around that grows out of its back. That's the story.
damn.
I'm like, yeah, that one did me in.
Yeah, that's a feet do your
Like
stuff.
why? Yeah, like the
So
fake rider's gonna
Scotland,
fool
Scotland
people.
is darker than.
Oh, yeah,
And by the way, they
you
have
have
a
no
very
idea.
dark history.
You have no idea. That's where my
Ireland has a
family's
pretty
from.
dark history as well.
Yeah.
Ming, could I ask you to pull up a picture of the Doulahan?
Oh yeah, is it the?
Yeah, I've heard of this.
So I'll
That's
tell you guys
not
what.
the otter thing, is it?
Close. Doulahan's interesting. Doulahan
And
is
Doulahan's
essentially
family owned a place down the Jersey Shore.
That's right.
Exactly.
It was a catering hall. It was really nice.
Doulahan's.
They used to
Guinness
hold,
on tap.
They used to hold those big hodag parties.
Yes.
Well, Doulahan was interesting because the Doulahan is actually what I would say is the precursor to the Headless Horseman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Except take out a very October present pumpkin head.
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
throw around. And he used to wave around it was a skeleton body he would throw around.
See what I mean?
There he is.
Yep.
That's
There he
not
is.
fair. Yeah,
Oh,
see,
wow.
that's pretty creepy.
Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
whip-like kind of a
It's
thing.
always some demonic warrior thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Doulahan was quite frightening, and yet somehow there you go, and now you have a good picture of the actual
That's a good
the Headless Horseman, which, by the way, Ted Daniels
Talk to me.
was written by Washington Irving.
Washington Irving.
Washington Irving, who spent some time in the British Isles to collect up some of
That's
these
right.
folk tales before he came back to
Sure did.
America.
And he lived. We just started thinking about him. He lived in Union for a while. That area.
He actually spent some time in
This
like
is great.
Union.
Irvington
this-
is named after him. I never knew that.
A really
Yeah.
good listener of ours, Tim, he gave us the information that Irvington is named after him.
I never knew.
really.
Yeah, and the legend of the Headless Horseman was actually a legend that started on Galloping Hill Road
Yep.
in the Union area.
Told you we
But
had
he,
money.
From
he
the
kind of
Dutch.
brought
This
it
was money.
to
Oh,
that
wow.
Tarrytown area because he loved the Tarrytown
It was
area.
from the
Right.
Dutch.
You know, he
thing.
went up
Yeah,
there
yeah.
because there was yellow fever in New York, and they made him
Yeah.
go up there to be safe and all. And he loved it up there, and that's where that whole thing came from. So that was, yeah, he had a little bit of a Jersey connection. I don't know how long he lived in Jersey.
To
but
be clear,
Or
yellow fever was a hoax by the Democrats to win the midterms.
yes, that's exactly what it
making
was.
sure.
Yes.
Had to
It
get
was-
inoculated.
It was,
They were trying to interrupt that whole thing with the Panama Canal.
and it was.
Brings us back to Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go, Teddy.
Arsenic
And
or all
then, they,
lace.
and then they came up with Hodag pox.
Hopak is a whole other thing.
But Washington Irving was, we did a whole episode on him. It was Patreon only. We're going to put it out for free for everybody probably tomorrow.
Oh, good.
But he was mind blowing. I think he was like one of the first man of letters in America.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
He wrote a shitload, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he was
good.
just
So Irvington,
putting
New
stuff out.
Jersey, lost out to Jockey Hollow
Yeah.
as a tourist
Sleepy
attraction.
Hollow,
That
yeah,
day.
exactly.
We could have had hay rides and pumpkin.
Yeah, then they give you an AK-47 when you go for the hayride. So this way,
Yeah, right.
Not so sleepy. Huh?
Yeah.
we actually have
Sleep with the fishes. Huh?
Sleep with the fishes.
our Halloween episode is going to be coming out later tonight, and where we
Excellent.
touch on the Salem witch trials, and then just a little bit more on the legend of Sleepy Hollow than Washington Irving. But we do talk a little bit about him, but mostly just about the legend of the.
When you guys
Sleepy
talk about the
Hollow.
legend of Sleepy Hollow, because I was so happy, my sister-in-law actually got into this. She was explaining that it was actually something weird. It was an infection in the yeast that made people act out.
Like ergot poisoning.
I believe that's what she was called.
Yeah, it's like they get these little fungus black buds that get on the wheat sometimes. They're like hallucinogenic.
Right.
Oh, and these girls were just tripping balls.
They
Yeah,
tried to bring
exactly.
the Salem witch trials too, but
Right.
They
Yeah, I
weren't
don't know
all
about
tripping their
that.
brains
I don't,
out,
yeah,
you know.
the Salem. I don't think the Salem witch trials had
but
anything.
anytime there's hysteria like that, they
They try to bring that in.
We-
Right.
You know,
oh, yeah.
that-
It's in the water. It's in the
Yeah,
food. It's
exactly.
something. Right.
It's in
ergot
the water.
poisoning. Yeah.
Well, we did it. We covered the first case of possession in the United States. We brought in Jackie Byrne because, for unfortunately a while here, we would just bring Jackie in whenever we had to back up a crazy chick from history.
It's a crazy lady.
Because we love her.
bring in
Who are you
Jackie.
going to call? Jackie.
Jackie.
But yeah, they were saying that too. That was probably just her acting out because of oppression she was suffering. Then you have Salem, where now there's like multiple situations. Is it because of weird bacteria in the bread? We don't know. I mean, you know something, Teddy, right now. You ain't telling me.
We talk about it. So first of all, the girls are caught doing some kind of little. They were with the Tituba, who was
Tituba, yes.
I guess she was a slave or servant, and she was from like the West Indies.
Right.
So she
Got
had
that
a
voodoo
thing.
vibe going.
Right, exactly.
right.
And she had a thing where she would do this special thing. So they
fortune-telling game.
Yeah, like fortune telling, like
whether they're gonna marry
what
you.
their husband's occupation was going to be. And as they're doing this, they get caught.
Really.
and that's when the kids freak out.
It was a major no-no to be caught too.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
You know, you're in the middle of the woods. You're all the way in the middle of the woods, basically trying to hide from people so you don't get caught. You get caught, you flip out. What's the first thing you
It
do?
looks real
She
bad.
made us do
Yeah,
it.
it's-
Tituba made us
looks
do
real
it.
bad,
Right.
too.
And then, you know, one of the girls, she starts having these fits. Now, I mean, they called them fits back then. She might have just been sick and kind of was like
So we
flipping
don't-
out
we
a
weren't
little.
there, we don't know.
Could have been a
Right.
7th grade girl too.
And plus, you get in trouble. You're not getting people.
The man taught enough school. He knows.
You're not
He
getting,
knows.
You're not getting people with like medical backgrounds,
Right.
or because I can't believe they're trying to figure out what their husbands are going to do. What are the choices?
What-
Witchfinder, judge, or farmer?
Right, exactly.
right.
It's
Let's shuffle them up again.
yeah, and I mean, and then
Roll-
they, and then they
roll
just kept
roll
getting
them
worse and
bones
worse.
again.
No entrepreneurs.
They just kept blaming more people and bringing more people
totally.
in,
Like
and then they
156 people.
yeah, like 156 people,
Right.
and and
I
then
heard
finally,
something kind of wild about this too. Is that there's a couple good comics you and I like that have also pointed this out. That they said the Salem witch trials and the Me Too movement had so much going on because there were so many like legitimate things that should probably be addressed.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there was the people just jumping on because
Yeah.
they wanted
Right.
attention.
Exactly.
We pointed
Yeah.
out too that that's the case with the French Revolution also.
yes,
Oh, it's the
After a
worst.
while,
That's the
after a
worst.
while,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were just putting each other in there. Robespierre is up
Right.
there.
Right.
They're putting his head in there. It's like
Right.
they couldn't stop.
Right.
Robespierre has one street named after him in all of Paris.
really.
He could have been George Washington.
That's
he
right.
really could have been. But Robespierre, if you want to know more about him, listen to our two-parter. I believe we did on
Lafayette. right?
Lafayette. Yeah.
But that's
With,
what happens
Cat
when a
Smith, who
when
I
something
just-
like that gets its hysteria going. You start seeing people everywhere. Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
They see that with racism too. I mean, there is racism, but it's like if you see it everywhere.
And like these girls were just blaming like if they didn't like people or if they feared people,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
it got
Right.
stupid.
it just and then finally when the governor's wife was accused, the governor said, "All right, it's over."
Enough.
It's
Yeah.
gone
It's
too
over
far
now.
now.
Yeah.
Listen, nerds.
Yeah.
We got to talk.
Let's revisit.
And she really
this.
is a witch.
But you know what's pretty funny? It pretty much all of them were exonerated except for
Yeah.
one person, and she was exonerated in the year 2021. They finally
Okay, I know this.
they finally exonerated her and
got
said,
DNA
you know,
off the broom, yeah.
she was not a witch.
Right.
So
And
but
they
it
would
took
always
that
pick
long.
on the those who were not couldn't defend themselves
Yeah,
too. That
correct.
if you were a widow,
They're
now you have no
outsiders.
husband to stand up for
That's
you, or
right.
no sons.
Outsiders who get
That the
herbal
female in that
cures.
society was,
Yep.
unless you were married,
Yeah.
you had
Plus,
nothing
you were,
to say.
You were suspect to everything.
Creepy too is the fact when they were executed, they executed 2 dogs too
Yes.
For witchcraft.
Yes.
for
they
giving
did.
kids the evil eye.
They gave kids the evil eye. These 2 dogs, and they
Were they
executed
Peabody
the
and
dogs.
Sherman? I mean, it was like
No
They
cats.
said the dogs. No,
They're
surprisingly,
called Shih
They said
Tzus.
the
They
dog-
don't know what they're
the dog
doing.
giving you a dirty look. I mean, what's that? Thine dog is pooping on my lawn and giving me funny looks.
But I love how every movie that they do about the Salem witch trials, they show witches burning. Not one witch was burned in
No.
Salem.
Right.
Nope.
They were-
they
were
did
pissed,
The dunk
but-
tank, right?
No, the dunk tank was to find out if they were a witch, but
They
then
were
they
hanging
hung them.
them. They were hanging.
Except for one person, Giles Corey, who was pressed. So they took a board like this
Yeah.
table.
That guy
Right.
got a bunch of
And
rocks
kept
on
on
it.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
and they
rocks
put the
on.
rocks on it.
Well, that was the thing too. If you survived, you were rich and you were guilty. If you died, you were innocent.
Right.
Well, that's a real win-win.
Exactly.
Yeah, can you put more rocks on me? I'm not sure.
Can I take the physical challenge?
You're
on that?
you're pressed. I'm running out of time to get out of here.
Hey, Lawrence Taylor's going to tackle you if you get back up.
There you
You're
go.
on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, and, yeah, or they had like,
What?
the witch's bath, where they just dunk you. Into,
Yeah, that
it's
was
kinda
the
like
one.
waterboarding you, but
Right.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Meg, I just want to check in real quick with the chat if we can, my friend. I want to see what, because I love doing the Facebook Lives over here. Let's see. Harry Clark says, Cabbage Night?
Yeah, what is Cabbage Night? I heard about it.
That's
Listen,
the
we
night
just
before
can't
Halloween.
trust, you just can't trust Harry. He's a problem. Ming is the man. You're
Well, think about
goddamn
it,
right.
Depends
Johnny Depp's
on where
movie
you
that was great
are.
was Christopher Walken in that. Remember, he was the
Oh, was
Headless
that it?
Horseman. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Nightmare Fodder from Stu Greenberg. Damn right, man. Damn right. And by the way, Mary Elizabeth and also our friend Rachel Veronica, I just want to say thank you to both of you. And
nice.
we love having you on the show.
Very nice.
Uh-oh, she's here. What'd she say?
Whoa, Ichabod Crane was from Staten Island. Yeah, I did know that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
you
was
should
from
have
Staten
known, man.
Island.
He smoked
He was a
Parliaments.
I started out in Brooklyn.
Ichabod Crane, motherfuckers. What are you going to do about it? So, but
Ichabod.
Washington Irving, absolutely fascinating guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you said Galloping Horse Road? That's actually what it's named after?
Galloping Hill Road.
Galloping Hill Road.
They
okay.
said that that's where they were having the sightings of the headless, because that was big during the American Revolution. So they kept the same idea where it was a Hessian soldier
Right.
whose head supposedly was blown off by a cannonball at close range.
Right.
And
Took his head clean off.
clean off. And then they just brought it up to Sleepy Hollow.
Germans, very clean
Yeah.
people.
We were up at Sleepy Hollow one year for the attractions, and I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at something on my phone. And all of a sudden, I hear like a horse getting clopping behind me. And I looked, and it's this giant black horse with this giant headless guy in those. I was like, oh!
That would do it, Ted.
That'll grab your
That would do
attention.
it.
Absolutely. And that whole pumpkin thing too, that started with the Irish with the what would you say, the Doulahan?
So the Doulahan,
Yeah.
that all that was missing from the Headless Horseman being the Doulahan was a pumpkin, if you will.
Right.
So that showed up later on in life. That became. It's so weird that everything comes from somewhere. But-
Yeah,
Yeah.
originally too, they didn't have pumpkins. What they would do is they would have carved turnips.
Turnips, yep.
They'd go around, they'd carve like face, which is really
No shit.
grotesque. Like in Scotland and stuff, they would do turnips. What's that? It's my turnip.
It's about
Look at my turnip, I'll kill you. It's like, all right, Mom.
Well, when they came to the United States, hey, we got pumpkins.
There you
and
go.
They're a whole
They're
lot bigger
better
and a
to
whole lot
carve,
easier
yeah,
to
you know.
carve.
They're like
right?
pumpkins.
Yeah, I used to do that. We did get a pumpkin every year and carve it. Like you're about 5 minutes into it and go, "Ooh, come down. It's like Jaws. Come down here and chump some of this shit. You know,
Taking the guts out.
this is great. Yeah, you got a nice little scoop there. It only take like 3 days.
Well, I sent a couple other things to my father here. I don't know what else you have prepared tonight.
What do you got there, Larry?
I don't know if you do.
That's pretty much. I mean,
Well, that was pretty good.
The red camel.
The red camel.
I like the
great.
red camel.
Red camel.
Red-
great.
that one's
Oh, the
upsetting.
red ghost.
Yes.
It was the red ghost.
Because
Red
that-
ghost,
that
the
had
dead
red
body.
ghost.
When there's a
that has-
confirmed dead body on
Yeah,
the back.
that has the feel of something that really happened. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Right.
It did.
I mean, again, that little
And
nugget
you're
of
out
truth
there
about
wandering
having
around
the
the
camel
desert.
core.
You
that-
see that shit through your binoculars or something. Like, okay, yeah, I don't need the prospect.
And I
value.
told
Yeah.
our boy Eric we're going to do a full episode on that. I promise, full deep down
That
research.
sounds very
yeah,
good.
and then,
They're actually going to bring a camel into the studio.
There you go.
And today, I mean, you're talking about the tourist attractions of Sleepy Hollow and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. There's a sculpture now of the camel that was erected in Quartzsite, Arizona. So next time, it's one of the most popular attractions
bet
in
it is.
Quartzite,
Well, it's
Arizona.
not like there's a lot of competition. but-
Big ball of yarn.
I was
and,
just going to say the big ball of string right here.
But and why Quartzsite, Arizona? Because the camel jockey or the camel driver, this guy High Jolly, that was his hometown. So what's more befitting of the
It's perfect.
the red ghost than to have it in Quartzsite? And then there's a marker at his this High Jolly guy at his gravesite to the camel corps. So
Yeah.
again,
Oh.
there's it's got credentials. It's
Yeah.
got background.
It's
That'll
real
be a
stuff.
fact-based
great,
stuff.
great name for a military unit out there
What's that?
soon. You know what I mean? Not right away. still
Corps?
pretty creepy.
The camel corps.
Yeah, the Africa Corps. Oh, that's a little different war, though.
I've
Really.
I've all mine hair.
Jesus.
So
Jesus,
there's the
Rama,
camel
wait.
from.
Well, your peppers.
So before I get into, because
Okay,
the
so-
two of these guys, we're very lucky to have as guests. And again, the show is called Wizards of Odd, and please enjoy that. A bunch of people made the jump. Deb's made the jump. A couple other people made the jump.
Good.
And it's a damn good show, man. And you guys are so fun to talk to. It's just hanging out with old friends, man. This is great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I want to read a couple of the most fucked up haunted stories that we have.
Do it.
All right, and maybe you guys are going to know about
I
some
love
of these.
haunted stories.
This one's a good one here. These are the most haunted houses in America, and we did a great episode on Lemp Mansion. That is what a terrifying place that is. Why someone would have their wedding there?
Yeah,
I
who would
don't
do
know,
Yeah, it's a
Don.
bed and breakfast now.
I don't
And
know.
You're going to be haunted enough, trust me.
Right. You'll be calling her a witch pretty soon.
Well, I have a story for you guys about 1000 Lombard Street in San Francisco, California. Socialite, journalist, and famed party host Patricia Montandon moved into an apartment on San Francisco's famous Crooked Block. You've been out to,
Yeah.
Ming,
I've
you've
been
been
there.
out there, right?
I have, yeah. My cousin lives right by there, so I've walked up and
Really?
down
So,
that street.
hang on, just so I know, what is a crooked block?
I mean, it's.
It actually
It winds.
goes like this.
It winds.
I'll
It's a
see if I
windy
can.
road.
I'll see if
Yeah,
I can
you'll
pull
get
up
a
a photo.
picture.
But
So it's not the one that Dirty Harry came driving down to go kill some people.
No.
Okay, understood.
No, but featured in many
Yeah,
movies.
yeah, it
but
has been featured
yeah, it's
there,
got like
yeah.
9 hairpin turns.
You'll know when you
crazy.
see it.
Oh,
As
yeah.
soon as you see it, you'll
Looks like
know
a
it.
slot racing thing. You should
That
go.
already is terrifying.
Oh, I know.
In 1960, though, she lived happily in her Russian Hill abode for 8 years until things began to go awry.
There you go.
Oh, we got a picture up?
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
How is this real?
and it's all down. It's all depending on your direction, uphill or downhill. It's not a flat level surface. I mean, you're dealing with the incline.
That's what
That's
I'm maneuvering
terrifying.
there, yeah.
Jesus. I think he's going to bring that up. I mean, geez.
You probably have local
look at
people.
that.
You probably have local people behind you going, "Bam, bam, come on, bam, bam." You know.
Exactly.
What's this? A log flume? Back off.
Yeah, what are you, a tourist? Come on.
It looks like it should be a log
Yeah,
flume.
really.
You're
Put some
right.
water in there, just like just cruise down.
Well,
So?
she was living happily in her Russian abode for 8 years until things began to go awry following an astrology-themed party.
Why do they do it?
You don't know what they invite these things in.
Absolutely, 100%.
You ever heard of ball before you called on ball?
I'm not even laughing about that.
I know.
I'm
I know you're
dead
not.
serious
I know
about
you're
this
not
stuff.
About what
because
was
I'm going to
that?
set you
How
up
when you
for
have
it.
these things, you invite stuff in.
Oh, if you have like theme parks.
Ouija boards and
yeah, that's not a good idea.
And
Oof.
Teddy and me go back a long ways, so
Yeah.
we've had
I
conversations.
even think,
Yeah.
I even think just psychologically it's a bad thing. when you
Yes,
have people. I just
absolutely.
nothing good can come of that.
Well, she hosted this party in her apartment. In her memoir, The Intruders, Montandon attributes a series of hauntings that culminated in corporal tragedy to the bizarre behavior of a disgruntled tarot card reader who may have been cursed. I apologize. Who may have cursed the apartment the night of the fateful party.
They caught him cheating. He had the 5 of wands up his sleeve.
He thought it was Pharaoh.
Really. Yahtzee.
So there's something wrong with this guy. Really.
I like to
Donnie,
cut,
right?
I like
That's
to
why
cut,
it's
I like
fun.
to cut right through it.
So from eerie laughter and faint music seemingly coming from within the apartment on repeat to constant rushes of cold winds, despite locked doors and windows, and strange disembodied footsteps, the paranormal events were stacking up quickly. But Montandon was also the victim of physical crimes following the party, including a robbery, harassment, possibly arson, and more.
Ironically, the tarot guy foretold it. And he had a mask on. Yeah, that is creepy. I mean, it just created a bad atmosphere. Things are just happening. You know what I mean? So who knows? If you play into that stuff, you can create very bad atmospheres for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I mean, what's
terrifying.
the-
You start
Every
seeing
culture,
things
by the way,
everywhere.
what I love is that every culture has this weird side to it. So,
Undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
A couple
Undoubtedly.
Irish
Bad
fellas
juju.
over here, you know what I mean?
That's why we look at that stuff all around the world. And once in a while, it all starts to look the same, just has a different
Yes.
name.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
how many times we see things with giant black wolf like hellhounds or red eyes?
All over the world.
They're all over the place.
All over the world.
Or this is another one
Damn
too.
right.
We ever get werewolves or these dogmen or everything? They always seem like to be wearing, for some reason, they're always wearing those plaid shirts.
Always wearing a plaid
They're always
shirt.
reported as wearing like plaid, like they're big, Creedence Clearwater fans or something. Like they always have a plaid shirt on.
I can't confirm it's from Walmart, but I know they're plaid shirts.
Yeah, that's something they always point out. I have no
Yeah.
idea what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Plaid flannel.
Maybe they're easy to
Yeah.
replace once they rip
Last
them
time
off.
you
There you
guys
go.
were on, you made us watch and it's weird. You guys made us watch a very, very compelling YouTube interview of the guys that felt like they had seen and interacted with Sasquatches.
Yes.
But unfortunately, at the same time, they're also the exact same looking guys that would be interacting with Sasquatches.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Takes a certain breed to
Exactly.
There was nothing confusing
No.
about
It's
that.
funny when you look at these guys. You see the guy with the cowboy hat sitting around the fire, and he's going, "Yeah, well, it definitely didn't sound like anything. That was different." And then they go, "Yeah, this guy was a cryptolinguist with the United States Navy Intelligence Department, so he knows languages and stuff."
Yeah.
But you just see this guy looks like a cowboy sitting there. You can't judge people like that.
That one, that one messed me up when you guys brought that one on, man.
It's just like for some reason I used to like study martial arts, and we decided to go out one night with these people. You take off your dojos and everything. You go into the room, you change. I look around. One guy's a biker. One guy looks like a lawyer. One guy looks like, you're like, what am I, with the village people? Because you don't realize how everybody
You know,
has different
right.
backgrounds, and you're all wearing a unit. But it's the same thing. You can't judge people by
Right.
the way you think they look.
Oh, no.
Right.
You know.
There's a lot of people who think I'm tough. I don't know why.
That same thing
We are
too.
big burly man.
Well, don't
I
tell
got
them
a
you're
good
not.
voice. That's about it.
We've talked about this in the past too. That if somebody's speaking with a southern accent, you'll already lower
Yeah, that's very
his
important.
apparent
That's
IQ.
so
That's not
unfortunate.
necessarily the case.
Absolutely.
And
Right?
that's so
Not the
unfortunate
case.
too, because it's not the case. No.
That's
Yeah,
coming
totally
from a Jersey
not.
guy.
yeah,
There's
I
a lot
get-
of
well,
doctors
we
down
get the
there,
same
too.
thing. We
That's
from
right.
Jersey.
Yeah.
What exit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
the
no,
one
we're
I'm
the
going to drop
worst.
you off in the middle of the woods.
So I want to
Pine
ask you this
barrens.
because you guys told me. So I'm excited. We shared a legit ghost story about this weird haunted house where this woman was haunted because she brought the things in, like you guys were saying.
Right.
We already covered two other very bizarre topics here, and then Washington Irving. We did pretty much a book on him at this point. Both of you guys have crazy stories of things you've dealt with, and whatever you're comfortable to share with. Here we are at the 8 minute and 11 mark on the show, and I would love to just give you guys the mic for a couple minutes.
Well, the most recent thing has to do with my daughter. So my daughter's a child psychologist. I
I know both his daughters, by the way.
Yes.
Was invited to one wedding, not the other. Whatever, we'll get over it. Charlie's my boy.
But
He's a good guy.
they lived in like the Central Jersey area, and they started having issues where their Ring camera would go off, and they would see the kind of like the outline of a small child. 9:30 at night, and they would go outside, and there's nothing there. And my son-in-law would go around the whole building, nothing at all. Then they were watching. They had 3 dogs. They were watching the dogs from their camera, the Ring camera, and they're watching them during the day. And then all of a sudden, you'd see the one dog pick his head up, look, yelp, and run and go under the couch. And then at that moment, they would see a shadow, and then the things would glitch. So they move into a home now from this apartment kind of thing.
This is what I think about every time I do laundry at your place, Larry. Just telling you.
So they move
Yeah,
into
we
this.
had a Ring camera
by
on the front
myself.
door.
They move into this home, and they start hearing. Well, my daughter starts hearing a little boy's voice calling her name. She'll be, taking a shower or doing the laundry, doing things like that, and she would hear it. Then their back door opened, and when it opened, they heard the ring, whatever noise the Ring camera thing makes. And my son-in-law says, "You didn't lock the door when you put the garbage out?" She goes, "No, I locked it and bolted it." And then they look at the Ring camera footage, and it glitched, and they couldn't see why.
What happened at that time?
Oh, wow.
It's one of those big sliding doors.
Yeah. Then they have
How could they get the power? They're animals, man.
It's weird, really.
they
They're all over us.
they have a coffee nook, and in the cup, not on top of the cup, in the cup is a small, like from the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda. And when she got pregnant and they were talking about the baby one night, the thing came out and flew across the room.
Check, please.
So now they buy a home.
Keep calling me gay.
There's
all
that
right?
little Yoda thing. Shit myself.
It gets a lot worse. They buy a home. They move away, 20 miles away, and they start weird things. She's hearing her husband's not home. She's hearing her husband's voice calling her, like mimicking to get her. Their smoke alarms, their Ring smoke alarms keep going off. They replace the batteries, replace the smoke alarms. Still, for no reason, go off. There's no smoke. She goes to go do the laundry in the lower level.
Finish your story, Ted.
She goes to reach to turn the lights on, and she hears a little boy giggling in her ear. So she goes, all right, it's not hurting me or anything. She gives the baby a bath in the downstairs big bathtub last week. And as they're coming out and they're going up the stairs, my almost 2-year-old grandson stops on the stairs. You didn't hear this.
Nope.
And he points and he goes, Mom, 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 Mom. And she's going, come on, Denver, we have to go up. Mom, Mom, Mom. And then she says, we're going up. She takes his hand to kind of pull him up. And he goes, okay, bye. Bye. 2 nights before I had to sleep there to watch the dog.
He's playing it so cool right now, Ted. You have no idea.
Well, I had to sleep there 2 nights later, and I'm watching the dog. So I'm sitting on the couch, and the dog is next to me. I would say every 10 minutes or so, the dog, out of a dead sleep, would lift his head up, look towards the stairway going to downstairs, and then look at me, and then look at the stairway. I finally said to him, we're just going to watch TV in the bedroom and lock the door.
That's like I texted you. I go, he's with the
Now,
dog.
this is in a
I
new
go,
place,
I go,
too,
how are you,
right?
how are you and
Place.
Scooby-Doo making out tonight?
Yeah. But and some people have said it's because she's empathetic,
Yeah, that's
and
what I
this
thought.
child might have attached to her.
Maybe something happened to this kid.
But we've also decided where I would love to hear if there's like, put a recorder and say, why are you here, this and that.
Yeah, it's-
But we don't want to invite anything.
Right.
If it's not hurting her right now, until and hopefully never happens, something else happens, just let it go.
Just let it go.
Don't address
Absolutely.
it, don't do anything, just let it go.
No, good call. What's in the chat right now, too, man? Because this one's. I knew Teddy had a fucking monster story. I'm curious. I think some. Oh boy, not a good.
I know, Stuart, it's not good.
I'm
I
so
said that
sorry,
once,
guys.
too. This guy said,
Oh, yeah.
at the bottom of the hole in Oak Island, they'll find Sasquatch. I said the same
Bill's
thing.
right.
What are you guys-
no,
what are you guys doing up here?
Bill gets it. No, this one's terrifying. But that's what we're trying to.
Red shirts,
I'm not saying we're making light of it. I'm just trying to say we're
It's the only way to get
processing.
through it.
Oh, without a doubt. Now
He got mad at me because I told the ghost off one night. I was coming home in an old house in Newark.
Yeah.
I was coming home
Well
late
done,
at night.
MacArthur. If you ever had a table to
was-
tell the story,
I was going in. I'm coming in late at night. It was in Newark. I was a few years ago. Another old house I was living in. I spent a lot of time in.
and by the way, I want
there.
Telly Savalas at the end of this.
There you go. I went
Just so you
down.
know.
I got I'm going in. I'm going in something. I don't know what happened. This face appeared to me. I'm going in the house. I see this face. It was like 2 a.m. I go, really? I go, come on now.
He's like,
You got to do this now, and then it kind of went away. It's the last time I ever saw it. I don't know.
got
I was just
shit
like,
to do.
I'm like, could you come back another time? I saw something else there too. I was sitting in the bed. I looked over. and I saw like a head, outline of a head, almost like Alfred Hitchcock type thing, with like the shoulders down to like the middle of the body, like hanging like a diaphanous curtain. I looked
Unreal.
away. I'm like, oh, it's nothing. I'm down there praying. I got my incense on or some shit. I turned back. It was still there. I looked at it, and then it was like staring somewhere else. Then it just went away. I'm like, all right.
yeah, it's.
I used to leave that basement every night. They were selling the house. I used to just say, look, if there's any spirits here, you got to move on because you're going to be stuck here. You're going to be trapped, and you're not going to know anybody who lives here. This house is going to go down. You got to move on. I used to do it in my act when I first started in comedy. I said, it's a shame people die from tragedy and they become a ghost. I said, with my luck, I go out one night, I get run over, taking out the garbage. Then every night I'm out there putting the lid on the can. Look, it's the red garbage man ghost.
Yeah,
We're
but I-
encouraging. We'll see if we can encourage him to tell a ghost story. But I'll tell a ghost story on his behalf real quick.
Most of the time you're not going to get hurt. It's just creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's
Yeah, I mean that'll get you. I mean your story reminded me of that Geico commercial that where the guy goes up into the attic of the
Oh,
new
yes.
house.
No, I'm
and
good.
sees all the
Yes.
mannequins.
No, I'm good.
right?
And he goes, "No,
Nope,
I'm good."
No good.
Nope.
Nope.
Wait, you have a ghost story? I want to
mean,
hear it.
I'll tell you what. I don't have. I have one I think happened, but I won't. I won't tell it because I don't think it's real. But cousin Megan, who's been a regular guest in the show, and happens to be this fella's goddaughter, she told me one of the most haunting ones, and it was about seeing, like within 72 hours after he was deceased, a family member like playing the saxophone in front of her in the window.
Wow.
And it was her saxophone that he had given to her.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was. I might have that wrong. I don't think I do, but Megan ain't a bullshitter, so we're gonna
Right.
go
Right.
with it.
Right.
It might have been a kazoo.
And
No, the thing, you're right, though, because that's a very personal thing. If someone's going to make a statement to you from beyond, that would be the thing they would do. Because that could be something, her connection to that person, was there, and that, like, was their acknowledging that connection
Yeah.
before they moved on, maybe,
Yeah.
or something. Because
Well
sometimes
said.
you get, like, residual hauntings. They seem to be, like information that just glitches in time. Like you see, it's just a glitch of something, like electromagnetic something. You perceive something for a minute, it just replays. But then you get the actual ones that are,
They're interactive.
active. They're
Right.
interacting with you. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's going
well,
on
6
here?
months after my mother-in-law died, my wife went out, and this affected our family really bad. She was so loved, and my wife took it very, very hard. We all did, but my wife was inconsolable. And I was putting together a computer desk in my daughter's bedroom. I had on, of course, WFAN, listening to sports talk, middle of the winter. And I take a break and I look up, and standing in the doorway, right next to on the wall where we had a crucifix that used to hang, but that crucifix was taken off the wall and put in my mother-in-law's casket. She was standing there, and I just looked at her and I said, I wasn't afraid, and I just said, Mom? And she smiled and she acknowledged. And I said, you okay? And she just shook her head, and then she was gone. So I immediately thought, okay, I'm seeing things. Peachy just walked by.
Boy.
And I went downstairs, and the kids are watching TV, and I said, is Mom home? And she goes, no, she's not home yet. I said, were you guys upstairs? No, we're watching TV. So, okay. So it's, and listen, you can say, oh, well, you didn't really see that. No, I know what I saw. I know what I saw.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I think you have some sensitivity anyway. I think your family has a little strain of that.
You told me one of the
That's a-
scariest
that's a good
stories
point.
ever. Keep going.
That's a good point, though, because what you said with your daughter,
Yeah,
and,
see what I mean?
and
It's a
you
strain of
experienced
that.
that, and your
And the little
daughter
kid-
experienced that,
And a little boy seeing it.
and Megan is of that same, I'm going to say, quality that she could feel or sense that presence
Yeah.
with the saxophone kind of a thing. And I know she's
Oh, yeah.
had numerous occasions with my mom,
Too many.
her grandmother, right?
Yes.
That I think there are people that
We love you, Graham.
are.
They're just sensitive.
Yeah, they're sensitive or acclimated to that. I don't know how you
There's
you
a
might want to
your
describe
brain,
that, but
it's an electromagnetic thing going on there. Maybe your brain just gets tuned like a radio station. Some people are tuned into that a little more. You could train yourself to do that, maybe. See, I grew up with all those legends too, because my whole family was. I grew up. Everybody had Scottish accents for the most part, and my grandparents, both sides, were
Don's
people.
Polish. It's
We're-
weird.
Yeah,
It
I
makes
know.
sense.
Don't tell them that. But,
you better be saying that. Know
But-
the now.
But you know,
no.
but it's like true. And like my grandparents on both sides were people that were born in the 1800s. You know, they were like, this is like a long thing. But they weren't sentimental people. They even believed in it, but they were never sentimental. I mean, for instance, my father, when we thought he was going to pass away, what were we going to do? And he goes, just stick a bone up my ass, let him drag me around the yard.
right.
I mean, this is the kind of people I was like, everybody
Right.
was like Mr. Bookman from Seinfeld. You know? What do you know about hard feelings? I can hear that coming around. And, these are war veterans, immigrants, went through a lot of stuff. They're like, some of them served in Scottish units and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear
Oh,
it.
no.
And I was in Tobruk. All right.
To Brooke.
I'm going out for the paper.
I need a
either.
favor from you, if you don't mind, my friend. All right. I want you and Teddy to tell the story real quick, but I got to ask our dear host, Ming Chen, real quick. Ming, you got anything ghosty you want to talk about right now?
Nothing that I can think of. I believe, but I have not had any serious encounters.
This-
Tonight,
this
when
one's
the
a
veil
wild
is
one.
thinnest, you might.
I might. Definitely been in some places I think might be haunted. But,
You know what I love too? And by the way, this is a weird side note, but I love something I really do like about Mexican culture is that they
food.
have. Well, there's that.
Yeah.
There's there's the women.
Yeah.
There's also they do when they celebrate the Day of the Dead. That's actually
Yes.
a celebration.
I have a
Yes.
song I wrote about that. I recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Really?
trying to get somebody to help me download it all and master it all
Well, we're gonna talk
because
after
I
the
have
show.
like
We'll
I
figure
multi-track
something
the
out.
whole thing
It's
by
got
myself.
some great stuff,
Oh, I believe it,
but we can't figure out how to get it off the thing you recorded it onto.
Oh, that's the problem.
I learned how to put all the tracks on there. I'm like, okay, now I have to put this on something else. Like what?
Where do we go from here?
Like
right?
paper.
No,
Can't
but I
help you with your
mean, but
pen pal.
it's like you gotta keep your mind busy. That's-
Yeah, Day of the Dead is awesome.
No, the
That's
fact
a
that
great
they
holiday.
celebrate and they welcome it, and then
Yeah.
you hear happy music
Yep.
accompanying
Yeah.
violent lyrics, and it's just something that I think is a healthier way of expressing it. That being said, I have to ask, and I want both of you guys to contribute on this one. You guys ruined me and Kahuna's life when you came on here. You did.
Is that why he's not here?
Yeah,
But I do.
Kahuna won't come by. He won't come by if he knows you're in town.
Oh,
No, you guys did something incredible. You showed us, and I'll let Ming know if he can possibly pull it up. We'll figure out. I don't know if copyright issue is going to be a thing. Telly Savalas of all people. And by the way, that's a tough guy. That's a fucking tough guy.
That's why, judging from it, because his background before he
Yeah.
was an actor, he worked for the State Department,
Yes.
and he was
You told
also
me
and he
this.
also
Yeah.
he also had a degree in psychology. So
And-
he was not a guy, and
Right.
he just had a background in Greek kind of mythology and everything, because his mother was kind of a sensitive and told fortunes and everything. So
She
his
owned a
family
diner,
might
yeah.
have a strain. Of
Of
that.
course. Right.
But, that's
And I'll have a baked potato too early.
But that's always.
Speaking of Kahuna, you guys want to talk to him? I see he's popped in here.
Hey,
He popped
there he
in.
is.
Our boy. We love him. We love him. We love him. We love him.
Who's?
What's
How are
up,
you? How are
gentlemen?
you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We miss you.
Yeah, I know. I was stuck at Smodcastle, which is great because I'm listening to these horror stories while I'm completely alone.
Nice.
Wendigo.
Oh, wait, we have not
Are
mentioned
you
Wendigo.
sure you're alone? What do I see back there?
Is that an orb?
Ming, is it possible to bring this up if you can?
That's not funny.
Google this?
It's not fucking funny.
I wonder if can you play that on the YouTube?
Ming, you
What
tell me.
what are you looking for?
So Telly Savalas ghost story.
Okay.
We'll talk over it so that it's commentary.
Yeah.
But this shit fucked me up for a couple of days.
It's totally. It's one of the most convincing
Yeah.
narratives of a ghost story I've ever heard.
This one's bad. LP, I'm sorry. You ain't sleeping good tonight, sir.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm anxious to listen to this because
It's tremendous.
And it's Telly Savalas, so who loves you, baby?
Who loves you,
Every time I
baby?
look at this, I
That
end
was
up-
the name of our episode.
I end
With
up
a
t-
lollipop.
Every time I see that, I end up
Kojak.
talking like him like that for 2 days. I'll be like, "Yeah, he pushed me to get started."
And to confirm, do me a favor and follow these guys' show. It's called Wizards of Odd. This is what they do. We're doing an off episode of our thing. We're going to go back to talking about the Constitution and shit. All right. But these guys, they're doing something very fun, and it's very original. And anybody who's listened has enjoyed it. And I hope more people are going to make the jump.
We make no judgments. We just present the story, except for the Amityville Horror, which I completely called complete bullshit on.
Oh, yeah, no, that one's bullshit.
But,
I can confirm
bizarre
that
and
one.
I
supernatural
wanted to
stories
believe it.
told by friends and
I drove
strangers.
past the house once on my way up
Maybe
to
with a little
Governor's.
grain of salt.
Yeah,
It was
But
not as
now and
scary
then
as I thought.
someone-
it was
No,
gonna be.
no.
they
No,
actually
that's
changed.
a Hollywood.
They changed the address.
Yeah.
As in this
Are
story.
they
It happened.
so they
On
playing it
Long
right now?
Island, New
I gotta put on
York.
headphones for
A
it.
very famous man.
I'll tell you what, if we
What
got
I'm about
headphones,
to
I'll
tell
do
you is
it.
true. If you want to hear it,
I do want to hear
you do want to hear it. Then I'll tell you.
I do.
I
Are
was
we
never
all plugged in here?
Thank you, Ming.
Oh, here you go.
But then something happened in my life
This
which
scares the
scared
shit
the
out of
hell
me.
out of me. And for something like that to happen to me is
And the
something
listeners
that I
at
can't
home are saying,
understand
"What
to
the
this
hell?
day.
All these guys are listening, but I can't hear anything."
No, they can hear it.
Oh, they
God
can.
knows how many years ago. Let me think now.
Love you, Ming. Thank you.
58, 59. It's a lot of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
No.
good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I just left off a date. Beautiful young girl since left us.
Of course she
It's
was. She
about
was Greek.
2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going home to Long Island after dropping her off. And as would happen, I ran out of gas.
This is literally
And,
fucking Telly Savalas telling the story.
I go
by
into
the way,
this
if you
White
can't tell.
Castle restaurant. I says, "Is there a gas station open?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "You walk through the woods there." He says, "Get on the Grand Central Parkway, take it to the Cross Island Parkway." He says, "And the gas station there open all night."
Perfect
Okay.
instructions. That's
So
correct.
I am. Start walking through the woods,
You gotta
wooded
talk
area.
otherwise they
Wooded
flag
area.
us.
A wooded area.
going up. As I'm doing that, I hear a voice say,
I'll give you a ride.
That scares the
no.
shit out of Ted every time.
and there's this guy in the Cadillac. And I didn't hear the Cadillac.
You hear the voice,
I'm quiet right now because I'm scared. But
and what do you see?
Great story.
I see a guy in a white suit, and I hear an effeminate voice say, "I'll give you a lift."
I'll
That's
give you
very
a
nice. I'm going to
ride.
the gas station.
I love you, Ted.
I mean, he's in the car driving around. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
We get to the gas station, talking very nice. And I'm fumbling around in my pockets.
This goddamn Kojak.
He
Yeah.
says, "I'll lend you a
I'm
dollar."
the dirty dozen, right?
Like ask him for money.
Do you have a,
And the
do you have
truth
a
is, I went
lollipop
broke.
on you?
And I said, "Well, look," I says, I work for the State Department, and well, anyway, give me your name and address, all right? Allow me to mail it
And
to
you're
you.
right,
because
by
I'm
the
very
way, Don.
embarrassed.
His background plays.
Anyway, I
huge into
go
this.
there, I get a can,
This ain't a bullshit.
pay for the gas. We start driving back to my car to put the gas in the car, and I thought that was very nice of him.
Right back.
And then of the clear blue sky, he says, I know, I'm not going to mention the name. I know so-and-so.
Where's Rachel? Rachel's probably freaking out in the comments right now.
And it's a baseball player. We weren't talking baseball. Oh, I said, who's he? He says, well, he's a
Utility infielder for the Boston Red Sox.
He can't hit a
Oh. It's so bizarre
Trouble with the curve.
that he would say it in the spookiest voice I ever heard. He kept driving, get to my car, put the gasoline in. He pushes me to get it started. My car starts. I thank him very much. All in all, it's a very lovely experience to meet someone to help you out like that. No incident whatsoever. Go home, go to work in the morning,
Ted is not
get
a
out
guy
in the
that
afternoon,
plays
this
it
headline.
down, by the way.
in the
Just
then
letting you
Journal
know.
American.
It's
So-and-so
creepy as shit.
dead.
Mhm.
The guy he mentioned in that very spooky voice, age 20 some odd, young ball player, under very mysterious circumstances. Autopsy and all that stuff. I said, God, what a frightening coincidence. I go home and I says, hey, Ma, isn't that funny? My mother, I think, was part witch. I explained it to her. She says, well, yeah, tell
It
me.
means Greek.
Strange things
Greek.
that do happen.
Autocorrect.
I said, but. And then I remembered that he gave me a piece of paper for me to send a buck to. I look at it, and there besides the address is a telephone number. Okay. Pick it up and I called the number. Jimmy's Bar. Oh, I said, well, can I speak to Mr. Cullen, please? Oh, Mr. Cullen, just a minute. Woman gets on the phone.
Who's calling?
Hi, may I speak to Mr. Cullen, please?
Yes,
He's not
Kojak.
here.
When do you expect him?
Who is this?
I says, well, I was with Mr. Cullen last night, and he gave me this telephone number, and he said I could reach him here. She says,
Look, you son of a bitch. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about my husband, and he's been dead for 2 years.
Babu.
Anyway,
You're getting it.
I
Getting
wouldn't let it
now.
go. I did get
so I
in
got
touch
a
with the
warrant.
woman again. I did meet her in New York. She came down from Boston because, this is a little too much. The clothes I described were the clothes he was buried in. The piece of paper that he gave me signed James Cullen. She brought a letter that he wrote her when he was in the Army. It had Jimmy on that. Outside of that, the signature is identical. There was only one thing that was different.
And here it comes.
I said, he had a high voice. She said, oh, no, she said. He had a deep voice like yours. Oh. Then it meant he killed himself. This way, right through the voice. Box, whatever. Anyway, this story happened to a guy like me, and as I say, it's been haunting me now close to 40 years.
Dad, I'm staying at your house tonight.
Teddy
Now-
told us, by the way, that he'd always been a cynic about the supernatural
We got the second part, right?
until that night.
I can give you the second part right now.
Oh, I know you got the second part.
Do you have
I'm
it?
hoping we can pull it up, and we'll wrap on this. And I'm so happy. It means a lot. I'm so happy everybody's been here. We got a decent amount of people in the crowd tonight. So
Kahuna
Um,
is still with us.
no, Kahuna.
No, there he is. He's still here.
Kahuna went home, man.
He's from an undisclosed
Seriously.
location.
Who is that behind Kahuna?
Don't say that.
It's a middle finger.
He said he was alone.
Oh, we're trying to
Yeah,
have
what
some
is
fun, man.
going on?
No, this is the scariest shit on planet Earth. And I'll tell you what, it's I think like you were saying, Don, too, it's because of credibility that you give to a guy
Doesn't
like Telly
hurt.
Savalas. And that's why you two guys have a fun show, is there's credibility there. You guys ain't full of shit.
Well, we've done some stories recently that aren't necessarily paranormal, but they are very weird, and they're all documented.
Tiny
know what I mean?
coffins.
Just people doing, yeah. That's did you see
Tiny
that?
coffins. Yeah.
That's a great.
Tiny
the tiny
coffins is
coffins.
terrifying.
That's
The,
very weird.
And I know Ted has to get out of here shortly. So I think, Ming, if it's all right, if you can find that second part of the video, we'll end on that. No big deal.
Yeah, I don't know what they called it, because when I saw the second part of the video, it was like the guy just continued that video kind of thing.
It was more horrifying than the first part.
Yeah, it
I'll say
was
that much.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Telly Savalas is a ghost-driven home in a
No,
Francis
that's-
Ford
Oh,
Coppola.
fucking
Is this it?
Was driving home from his
Teddy can
cousin's
tell
house.
you better.
That's the beginning of it. I don't know if they're going to talk to him about the other encounter. Let's see if
The
it,
other encounter is more haunting. I'll be honest. And by the way, LP, real quick, do you have anything you want to say to the listeners? Because, by the way, we got at least, I think it's 9 people locked in right now.
Ming, type in Telly Savalas ghost on a golf course.
Yep, that'll do it. What do you want to say to the people at home, my friend? We got to wrap after this.
This was a great episode, and I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight.
Thank
It
you
was
for having us.
awesome.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
it
Yeah,
was-
thank you for coming up the whole day. dude.
Someday
You didn't
you're
know
gonna,
about the Hodag, huh?
Someday you're going to tell them your story about your fraternity and the crazy guy.
Yeah, well, we really need a campfire in the woods all around.
There we
to get that.
Well,
one
we can
going.
have you actually call into our show and we can record it.
I'll be in the backyard
This,
around the
we really
fire pit.
appreciate this, though. We really do.
I love you, man.
You know, we're trying to build our show, and a lot of your listeners started listening to us. So if there are any other listeners that aren't listening to us yet, give us a shot. If you don't like us, you don't like us.
And they have some interesting comments too. They're pretty.
They do, actually.
they-
Great
yeah.
comments, by the way.
Wizards of Odd.
Deb
folks,
Potts is our
ODD.
favorite right now.
Oh, she's an insane person.
she's amazing. And is it Rachel? I definitely want to talk to her about La Llorona.
Please, because
Yes.
Rachel has stories that are insane.
Oh,
It's pretty nuts.
I want her
man.
on the show.
No, she's going to be great. I want her to call into you, and
Yeah, they're not.
we'll set her up with a number and everything like that.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Seeming the top, November 22nd, 2013. About his
Come up one.
encounter.
Up one.
Teddy's a numbers guy.
Keep going up. Keep going up. Yeah. Savalas Spectre. Yeah.
In
See
the
if they say
meantime.
anything.
Goodbye, horses.
Now you you might have to fast forward through this story about the little guy giving him a ride.
It happened on Long Island, New York, to a very famous man.
Yeah, definitely gotta go. Give me a push.
Push
Oh,
push
dude.
me to get started.
Yeah, that's
You got me.
This is the
push
weirdest-
me to get started.
By far and by the way, the last part of this is just still creeping me out for a year now.
For 2 years.
As I described, for the clothes he was pictures, identical.
Yeah,
There's only one.
they're not gonna.
No.
Just give us a
Our
quick
bad.
idea.
You want?
I'll tell you what. You boys know the story. You showed it to me. Tell it to us, and we'll end on that.
You take it.
Okay, so years later.
Don, hop in though, will you? All right, you motherfucker.
Hop, 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 hop.
So years later, Telly Savalas is in Hollywood, and he's playing golf, Beverly Hills Golf Course, with the guy
Dennis James.
who's the big game show host.
Yeah, he's
Right.
out there.
sure.
He says they're on like the 7th hole, and he hears that high pitched voice
Hey.
and says, "Hey, Telly!" And he sees him on a ridge, and he says to Dennis James, "Do you see that?" And he goes, "No." Did you hear anything? He says, "I did hear someone call your name." He goes, "But you don't see that." He goes, "No." So as they get closer and closer, the ghost is there, and he says to Telly, he goes, "Did you hear what happened in Dallas today?"
Oh shit.
Yep, you already know.
And he says, "No." And then he disappears. He said, "We finished the 9th hole, figured we'd have a drink and a sandwich." He says, "We sit down in the clubhouse." He says, "and the TVs are on." And then all of a sudden, every TV went to Walter Cronkite, and they said, "The president's been shot in Dallas."
And nobody knew about that at the time. They didn't have cell phones. Or
No.
anything.
Right,
He's just
right.
out on the golf course. Like, how would he hear that?
Even worse, the guy interviewing him says, "Was that the last time you encountered this ghost?" He said, "No."
Yeah.
He said, "There was one other time." And he says, "And what happened with that?" He said, "I've never told anybody and I never will." And that was the end of it. So, like, what did this ghost tell him? Did he tell him the day
Yeah,
he
really.
was going to die?
Right.
Did
Or family or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Telly, the selfish bastard, dies and we don't know?
That car I had was stolen.
But that's an amazing story.
Yeah, that really
amazing
is. Because
story.
it's very elaborate.
Right.
All his proof and everything, you know. Nobody
Totally.
checked.
And then the fact, like I said again, that's like a tough, legit dude.
Yeah.
That's not trying
And you
to
could
get.
Plus,
tell-
it was substantiated by the guy he was playing golf with that he didn't see, but he did
he
hear.
happened,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
it's like, and you could tell he's not doing it in such a way that he wanted to get attention for. He's like, "This happened to me, and let me just tell you this."
Telly Savalas didn't need attention.
He told it a couple
Nope.
of times, but
Yeah,
he
right.
didn't, not much. He told
You know,
it on
he
he
har-
told it on Johnny Carson too one night.
Yeah, he hardly
That
talked
might have
about
been
it.
where the second clip
The
was
second
from.
one was?
I'm thinking
Yeah,
about that
he's
now.
just like, I don't want to talk.
But that's it's I find that so credible, so
Yeah.
credible. But
He was a tough guy who was not going to try to embellish.
Right.
Again, you fellas.
No, he seemed like an all business kind of guy. You know.
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
Right.
What do you mean when dirty doesn't? You know. Clint Walker.
But that's what we do on this show, man. We try to dispel or tell weird stories, and that's both of them. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
was a goddamn blast. I just want
So
to
much
say
fun.
Hey, it was fun. I had
thank
a
you to
good
both
time.
you guys. Plug the show one more time, please. You'd do me a favor, and we got to just check in with the chat on the way out, if you don't mind.
Wizards of Odd.
Wizards of Odd podcast. You can go to our website, wizardsofoddpodcast.com. We're on Facebook. You can send us an email, wizardsoddpodcast.com. You can connect through the website, but definitely reach out to us. We enjoy it, and we want to have you on the show. If you've got any kind of a story, we want to hear it. And we're not
Rachel's
judgmental.
going to email you, by the way.
Good.
So
Nice,
She's
Rachel.
going to email you about La Lorna.
Nice.
She's
La
seen
Lorna.
some stuff.
Rachel's comment.
You guys-
Nope, I hate you. Nope.
You guys suck from Stu Greenberg. I think I just saw. And my boy Colin, one of my best shipmates, man, a guy I love. I'm happy to hear from people, man. So we have a blast doing this show. This was a very fun.
It was fun.
I'm so glad.
That's why we do our show too. It's very conversational. You know what I mean? It's like, do you believe this happened? We think, yeah, this says
Right.
here, this year, blah blah blah.
Well, I
We
try
do
to tell him
research, and
he's
then we
so
just talk it out.
scholarly. He's so scholarly.
Yes.
This old man of mine. He
Not
wants to
really.
come in and have things prepared and everything. And I was like, listen, you just got to let our boys roll.
was very
And you did not disappoint.
Well,
ever.
I've recently annoyed Dom because I've had to start using a whiteboard.
Well, for one or two things. You gotta wait.
There's been a couple of times that we've just got so crazy off the
I was
rails.
like, no, I got this on the whiteboard, like bullet point. I'm like, really?
Carol.
But, you know, it's funny. We were talking about it. And he ran into somebody who listens to the show, and he said, "Yeah, we got this one episode. We might have to whiteboard." And the guy goes, "Don's not going to like the whiteboard." This is from listeners, because I'm freewheeling, and he's like, "Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point."
How does Don know that they put red sunglasses on chickens? I'm like, I don't know.
I'm just full of fun knowledge.
No, that's like another 45-minute
Yeah, no,
conversation.
I'm just, but that was.
I almost went for it, Ted. You saw it, right? You saw it.
It's true.
I did. But thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Nah, I goddamn
Our
love you,
pleasure.
man. I love both of you.
Thank you.
You're great guys. You're fucking Jersey guys, all right? Which is nice. I have to go be a Jersey guy down in Tampa on the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Oh, cool.
At Side Splitters. I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be very cool. And I got a couple of things coming up. But keep in touch with me, man. At KP Burke Sucks is the Instagram. American Loser Podcast is actually where you can find most content on here. And again, our Patreon is the only reason that we exist. We're dead
right.
for as little as. This is where you say 3.
3. Missed my
Dollars
cue.
a month.
Less than a cold brew from Dunkin' Donuts. How's
It,
that?
it really is.
That's a
and
bargain.
Yeah.
I think so.
What a
And
bargain.
there's a change coming with that, too. We're working on some stuff. But please keep supporting Wizards of Odd. And also
Thank you.
do me a favor, support a Shared Universe podcast studio. The wonderful Ming Chen gave up his Halloween night to be here with us.
Thank you, man.
That's right.
We love you, pal. All right?
Thank
know
you,
that,
Ming.
right?
We had to bribe him with some Snickers and some Kit Kats and everything
Yeah,
else
boy,
because he
whatever
couldn't
it
go
takes.
from
Star
door to
of
door.
Clerks
But
3.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, good thing the fun size is like a regular size to me. So thanks, guys.
Ming, is there anybody we got to read some comments from before we bounce out so I don't get yelled
I
at?
think we're good. Rachel Veronica, Stu Greenberg, of course, Nick Franco,
My
Ian
pal
Dwyer,
Ian
Bill
Dwyer was on there.
McCaslin,
Yeah, good. Bill's
Colin
good, man.
Moran. Yeah, a lot of people. Thank you.
Yes,
a lot of
Ian,
people
we
watching.
want the St. Augustine story.
A lot of people watching.
Ian actually is a cop from St. Augustine. I shouldn't know if I should say that he's a cop, but
Well,
Ian,
you
was,
just said it
Ian was
now.
on the job. I'll say that much.
There you
in
go.
St.
Contact
Augustine.
us, Ian.
And please call into their show. They're honest to God, I love these guys. All right. So
Thank you.
my name was KP Burke, and this was the Halloween edition of American Loser.